All right, I believe we are live. Hello, everyone. Today is Wednesday morning, and I am Michelle Oliver with Talk About TV. And every Wednesday, we come to you with a very special guest, and we share something that you do not know about something in experiential outdoor hospitality. And today, I am so excited and delighted to have Dyana Kelley with me. Thank you for being here today, Dyana.
Thank you so much, Michelle. I really appreciate this opportunity.
Yeah, and I'm sure that probably a lot of people know you. You've been in the space for a very long time. And Diana is the president and CEO, which means you're wearing a lot of hats there, a lot of responsibility of the California Outdoor Hospitality Association. And today we're going to talk about one thing you don't know about the importance and value of joining your state association. And there's no one better to share that with us than you, I believe. So
You.
tell us, why does it matter? And what do you think people don't understand about this?
Well, I love that you first of all acknowledged how many hats, not just I wear, but every state association executive. We're nonprofits, we're member funded, and that typically means we're underfunded, understaffed, a little bit overworked, right? So thank
Yes.
you, first of all, for acknowledging that, because I think we all work really hard in this space. The biggest question I get is, well, what value is it? What could you tell me? Why should I join the association? I can tell you emphatically, there's a million reasons to join, but the biggest one is to give your industry a voice. If you haven't ever taken an opportunity to go to your state capital and sit in on a committee meeting, watch what happens when the assembly and the senators are actually making votes, I would encourage you to do so, because inevitably you will find that if there is no opposition to legislation, the chances of it getting voted into law are pretty great.
Mm,
So if there's no opposition, well, why shouldn't we vote for it, right? Is
right.
basically the attitude. And without thought about the unintended consequences. Legislators are counting on their staffers to come in and give them information about an upcoming piece of legislation. Well, a lot of those staffers are in their early 20s. They have no life experience. They have no experience with unintended consequences, and they're coming from a different perspective than maybe your industry has. And so to count on a young staffer to present your information adequately, it's pretty scary. And then to watch what happens when there is no opposition to a law that's about to be passed is also equally as scary. And I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt that I've sat there and watched things get passed just purely because there wasn't anybody there to speak against it. And that's what we do. Association executives, we go, we sit there all day if we have to stand up and say, this is why you shouldn't vote for this. We pay for lobbyists, and that's with your dues. Help us pay for lobbyists that get us in the door to all those legislators so that we can go and have meetings ahead of time and hopefully stave off some of the errant legislation. There's a lot of things happening in the industry right now, and there's big companies out there coming for our industry because they don't like the way the RV park industry is running right now. And I think it's important for people to understand that. But we can't do that job without your membership dues.
Wow. That is so interesting to me.
Mhm.
And the thing is, when people are running their properties and they too are wearing 100 hats, right? I think people don't think about these things. They don't necessarily think about the bigger picture and the impact and that you have to be involved. Would you be open to sharing a couple of examples of this? Like when you said you've seen it again and again, I think it might be helpful for people. I don't know if you can do that, but if you can,
I can share an example of one law that was almost passed here in Sacramento. And another one, well, this is actually very familiar to a lot of the reservation software companies. We had one that got passed here regarding cancellation policies. And it didn't have anything to do with the RV parks or campgrounds. So I kind of took my eyes off of it. And at the very last minute, the author put in a clause about dwellings. Well, we have dwellings on our properties, right? So even taking my eyes off it for a minute because it didn't apply to us for a year, suddenly got something put in that really shouldn't have been. We had another piece of legislation
Wow.
run by an assemblyman in San Diego that was going to affect every single property throughout the entire state, throughout California. And if I had not been there, if I had not hired the lobbyist, if I hadn't been there to stop it, it would have easily passed through the system. They were ready to throw the guy a bone and just pass it because they assumed he knew what he was talking about. And if we had not been there to stop it, that legislation would have gone through. And it's not, legislation isn't tangible, right? You don't see it.
Mm,
The owners don't see it. It's not like they're getting an immediate ROI. When they are going to see it is when something does pass and they call up and they go, why didn't we do anything?
right.
If the association was to disappear, if our funding dries up because we're member funded, and we can't hire that lobbyist and we can't go do those things, that's when you're going to see it. That's when you're going to feel it. When suddenly there's things imposed on you that are going to affect the way you run your business right now. And that's when it's going to be a problem. You're not going
Right.
to see it today. You're not going to see it when you're writing that check to me right now for those dues, but you are going to see it at some point. And that's what, it's the hardest thing to try and talk about, and get
Right.
people to understand, but it's also the most important.
Well, you're mitigating all kinds of problems. And again, it's like the preventative, right? It's like the vitamin versus the surgery
Yeah.
later or whatever. So a lot of educate. Well, that's something you provide as well, right? A lot of education. And maybe you could speak to that a little bit, but I have one more question before that, just so people understand, who do these associations actually serve? Like, what is the criteria for someone to be able to join the association? Do you have to be, a campground, whatever, just generally speaking?
I would say in general, like we have what we call professional membership. So even people that are interested in getting into the industry can join our association and get a ton of benefits, including communications, all of our communication channels, access to our info hub, um, you know, uh, even our free legal assistance. We offer free legal assistance, as
Wow,
everybody gets free legal assistance. So if you need one
that's
attorney
huge.
involved, it offsets the cost of your membership for sure. But in general, I would say that most of the associations offer some sort of professional and some sort of park membership.
Okay.
A park membership means anybody that owns and operates an RV park, an outdoor resort, a glamping property. And then we also have supplier partnerships. And the suppliers are anyone that provides goods and services to the campgrounds. And we offer a full range of partnerships with them as well.
Fantastic. Okay. And so as far as the education, what kinds of things do you offer these people? Because there's so many pieces to running these parks and outdoor hospitality properties. I mean, it's people think it seems so simple, right? And it's just an outdoor. And it's so complex. And I've just in my short time in outdoor hospitality, which has been a couple years, and prior to that, I did have some involvement with I had a restaurant on an RV resort, and so I
Mhm.
kind of saw what was going on with the nightmare of operations, and what looks like such a simple situation is so complex. So what I've heard a lot is like people will come into this space, they really don't know what they're doing, and then they're looking at, well, how do I manage this? So third party management, or they try it on their own. And I would think they have a lot of questions. So what do you offer in terms of education for these people?
Well,
Newbies.
we
Here's
do a
more.
lot of communication, so a lot of outreach. But one of the biggest values that they're going to get, and I help people with this all the time when they buy a park or they're building a park, how to navigate the regulatory process. I have people that call me every single day with questions just on what we call removals and evictions. So it's our RV park law, how you deal with people in your park and getting them out in a timely manner. We have a full, set of regulatory forms, regulatory signage that has to be up, right? There's a lot of things that people don't know when they go to open a park in California. And like you said, I get a lot of calls from people going, we're looking for work-life balance, so we want to open a campground or an RV
Right.
park. And I'm like, yeah, you might want to rethink that. But
Or we like nature.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, we really love being outdoors. They see the owner driving around in the golf cart and they think that that's all it is, right? They don't realize that
Right.
he's already had to repair 3 pedestals before the day even got started. So,
Right.
um, yeah, we do a lot in terms of face-to-face. I've done tenant meetings where I've gone out to parks and met with
Wow.
all of their residents and explained new rules. We have sample rules. We actually have a really awesome campground solutions summit coming up next April in Reno for all Western states. So anything we can do to continually get the word out, our weekly newsletter, our quarterly printed newsletter, as well as our website, the information hub, we have a lot of resources.
That's amazing. It really is very much like you are coming on as a team member for any owner. I can't believe you go out and actually talk with the tenants. That's like the absolute like nightmare, right? Your version of hell that you get to go talk to these people and you're willing to go out there and do that. So, yeah,
And
that's
I
very
explained
nice
to
of you,
him, like,
Diana.
especially here in California, you've got code, you've got law, and you've got the park rules. And all 3 of them apply, and they don't understand that when you choose to live in an RV park, you have certain obligations as a tenant or a resident. And the park has certain, they have certain law that they have to follow, but part of that can be evicting you if you don't follow everything else. So yes, it is a difficult conversation sometimes to go out and have, but I try to make myself the bad guy instead of the park owner. So I do that.
That is an incredible service, really, truly. And I know the first time I met you was we had a client that you came in and helped us. You helped educate everyone actually on the California code, and it was so complicated, and people have no idea. And your expertise kind of blew everybody away. Honestly, you have architects, you have engineers, you have, all these civil engineers and then you have the visionary and however many partners and all these people kind of guessing at a lot of stuff, honestly. And then you came in and cleared it all up very quickly, which was astonishing how much you knew. And it seems to me California has a lot of complicated codes. Maybe it's not that way all everywhere in the country, but yeah. So do you run into this a lot that people don't know what they're doing till
I
you
do.
come in?
I actually do. Yeah, I run into it quite a bit. And with California, you are under the jurisdiction of the state, which a lot of people don't realize and don't understand. The state code is actually pretty easy to get through because it's black and white. It's sometimes a lot
Mm.
easier than working through our individual counties, but that's really the first step. And I feel very honored to have been involved with that project. I still continue to be involved with that project because they were headed down a path that was not going
Oh
to
my
work out
gosh.
for them. And they were
Yeah,
being led by an architect who was really taking them the wrong direction and telling them not to worry about code and this is okay and let's go here. And they weren't at that stage. They needed a permit. And so we've got them going the right direction. And I'm just so blessed
fantastic.
to be involved with them. But a lot of people don't understand it. They don't understand the path, and it sometimes can be difficult to figure out. It's also important to realize that not every county is accepting or warm to these
Yeah.
types of projects, right? And so before you go buy the land, do you even know if the county is going to be amiable to your project? And unfortunately, every year at the glamping show, I have to tell somebody, that's great. I'm glad you have property there. You're never going to be able to build a project there, ever. And so before you know, start the project, before you buy the land, before you start, even thinking what you want to do, it's really important to connect with somebody like your state association representative and say, what is the climate? Where should I consider buying? What is a good option? Where are they warm to this? Where are they not? Because it's going to save a lot of heartache in the long run.
That is such a great point. It's imperative. I went through that myself a number of years ago, and you come in with this grand vision, right? And it seems like everybody's going to love this. Why would they not?
Right.
And until you're in the midst of it, and it's actually terrifying what
Mhm.
the extent to which people will go to fight against a project that they aren't fond of. And yeah, that's a very, very good point.
We did just get one permitted here in one of our local counties, but it took 2 years. And by the time the person got through the 2 years, they were basically out of money. So this
Yeah.
project that was grander than it's going to end up being has had to scale way down just because now they don't have any more funding left to do the whole thing.
Yeah,
Um,
it's really not as simple as having land and tossing up a tent.
It's not, no, unfortunately. And there's a lot of people that are doing that,
Yeah,
without the permits, and I understand the attraction towards that. It's also scary to think, what if somebody gets hurt on your property and the attorney finds out that you are not permitted? Then what happens? What happens to that property that you invested your life savings in, the building that you had built, right? And that
yeah.
piece to me is scary. I would hate to lose my land and my life savings because I didn't, get the proper permits.
Right. Well, the moral of the story is these associations have so many resources. Like I had no idea the extent of your knowledge until I heard you on some of these calls. And honestly, I urge everybody to take advantage of this, at least explore, what your options are. And plus, you just have people who've been there before you. They understand. I mean, how long have you been in this industry?
I am actually still pretty much an infant. I've only been in the industry for 6 years, where a lot of the association executives have been in this industry for decades. So I am still somewhat of an infant, but I think coming in with fresh eyes is also important, right? It's important
Yes.
to be able to look at things with new perspective as well. And
Yeah,
that's sort of what
definitely.
I brought, just a new perspective, a fresh eye, a consumer perspective rather than just being always an executive perspective.
Yeah. Yes, I have definitely experienced that in this industry. So it's good to have a mix of all of it. But you do have extensive knowledge regarding the permitting and the processes and everything. So when you come into this, like honestly, there's no way you can anticipate all of the details involved in a development or even an expansion. So having an association on your side is a tremendous boon. Everybody go join. Go join now, or at least get on the phone and contact. And I wonder how
Absolutely.
many people don't even realize that these associations exist.
We have a lot of turnover in the industry. And so new owners come in and either don't think they need the association or don't know that the association exists, or don't realize all of the value that we bring to the project. And I think, like you said, even getting involved with the one that I did with you, having a better understanding of the breadth of knowledge from all of the association executives and what we can bring to the table and what we can assist with is important. And here in California, if I can't answer the question for you, I have an excellent land use attorney and an excellent RV park attorney that are right there to answer those questions. So,
Yeah,
and there's no
fantastic.
cost to do that. So it's just really a service that everybody should be tapping into.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for coming on today, Diana, and just sharing about this value. And obviously, we're urging everybody to learn more if you don't know about it already. Is there anything you'd like to close with? Any final thoughts or comments?
Yes, join your association today. We are all right in the midst of our dues season, getting ready for next year. So if you haven't joined, or if you're considering not joining or renewing because things are tight, join your association. We are the voice that is going to help protect your park in the long run. So everybody go join your association.
Go join. Join now.
Yes.
Yeah, and this is the perfect time of year to do it. Okay, well, thank you very much. Have a beautiful Wednesday, everyone, and go out there and build your resorts and change people's lives, but you got to get through the permitting. Right? Yeah. Okay.
Definitely. All right, Michelle,
Thanks
thank
very
you
much.
so
Have a
much.
great day, Diana.
You
Talk
too.
soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.